tornado warning.
Yes, the sirens are going off.
Okay, so are y'all somewhere safe? You've got the 2 kids with you,
So
and
the
y'all
sirens
safe?
are going off in Louisville. Ooh, I can't see nothing. And we're headed to Dad's
Okay, well, we're headed
to get in
I
the
think
storm
we're supposed to
shelter.
hit about 7, but we are headed to Mr. Phil and Miss Mary's right now, so we're there. We're gonna be there.
So we hope this video, I hope this video don't even make. What do you think, Aiden? Aiden was asleep on the couch. He come home because the weather was supposed to get bad in Scuba.
I hear the siren.
There's Julie. Do you hear it?
Mm-hmm. Sirens are going off.
Got the window down. So the tornado sirens have gone off, and we're supposed to have a tornado headed this way in the next 20 or 30 minutes. So we are trying to get to Dad's at his tornado shelter. Like I said, Aiden come home from school because it was going to get bad. He didn't want to be on Cott Road. So they've been...
And it ain't even bad there.
It's not bad there. Alright, well, we trying to get to Dad's. I'm going to show y'all some lightning whenever I get to Dad. Look at that. I mean, it is non-stop. I think when I get up here on his hill and my flash is not on, you'll be able to see it a lot better, but we are going right towards it. Alright, so we made it to Mom and Dad's. I'm gonna stand out here and get a little wet, but I mean, the lightning is unbelievable. How it's lighting the sky up. It is just a non-stop rolling thunder. I can hear the sirens going off in town. Whoa! Oh no, it's coming.
Area here. When you're within this red polygon, make sure you're holding on
Double
to
rotation,
your
that's
safety
bad.
above anything else. If you have something outside, leave it be. If you hear your trash can rolling down the street, it's just a trash can.
What's the
It
guy
can
on
be
Channel 9
replaced.
saying?
You cannot be replaced. Make sure you
There's a tornado on the ground at Columbus. He's not saying nothing about
away
us.
from windows, away from.
And the reason this is important is to know
It's such a-
just
it's
how
2
strong
miles
this
wide.
tornado
Look at
has
the
been or
debris
was.
that fell.
So as we look at this, I'm looking at the tornado debris, very substantial as we showed you right
That's
there.
in Columbus?
That little dot you see.
Columbus.
Okay, I'm gonna go up and show just how that
It's
tornado debris
approaching
is wafted
Highway
higher and
12.
higher. How high it's
So yes,
Yes,
it's
monitoring
gonna
the
be
storms,
just north of
very
us.
strong, very severe. We've seen it. We're showing you. Dylan, you have any reports?
Yeah, you can toss it over to me for a minute, and then I'll toss it back over to Chief Meteorologist Isaac Williams. The storm that produced
Not Mill Creek Road.
the damaging tornado near Steens in northern Lowndes County has.
Alright, you can still see it. I think the good Lord is gonna let it miss us just to the north, but I mean, it is lighting the sky up out here at Mom and Dad's. Right there is gonna be where it's coming from. I mean, the sky is just lighting up with thunder. Golly. All right, I'm gonna get back inside and golly and watch it. All right, guys, the wind's really picking up. I don't know, it's probably 10 minutes from us. 10 minutes. I'm gonna just kind of sit here and watch for a minute until I just have to get inside. Mom and Dad's got a they're got a storm shelter here. So I was just trying to see if I could see it in all this lightning, but the wind's starting to blow. So I'll probably get inside here shortly, but you can still see all the lightning.
On Highway 12, up around the 7,000 block, we've had a volunteer fire department that has been reported to be hit.
Continuing for you at this time near the Webster community on Highway 25 there north of Louisville.
Daddy now, right
Watched this
here.
for a while.
No.
This one
Webster
does
County,
continue.
Webster A, Webster's right across the street
This
from,
actually looks a little unfortunate.
Yes, it is.
A
There's
little
Webster
unhelpful.
A,
You did a few
Webster
minutes
B.
ago,
Webster
see a
on
well-defined
25
area kind of
is where
wrapping
he
down on the
is.
backside of this there, unfortunately. So
It's gonna miss us to the
there
north.
it's
let's look at
not
the window here.
Webster Street.
And
Look,
what
there's
you
Bond
notice is
Road,
it's
Mill, there it
difficult
is right
to
there.
kind of nail this down because we're looking just so high up.
I know, I'm looking at it. I'm
But
looking
this
at where
is
we are.
one that has to be respected as well. It's easy for me to know as a meteorologist to respect this one. We're right there next to the
Yep,
radar.
we're gonna be
I see
alright
everything
for that one.
we're trained to
It's
see.
gone.
This one's far.
All right, morning everybody. How's everybody in the Follow the Fanchers YouTube world this morning? So, we are good here. I hope the beginning of this video didn't just scare all y'all to death, but by the time you're seeing this, then y'all have seen footage of the tornado in 2014 that just totally demolished my mom and dad's house that they had just moved into about 6 months. And then you kind of saw what we went through last night. And I know lots of people, especially like last night, would wonder, or you're wondering, well, why did you load up and get in a truck and go to your parents? Well, mom and dad have a storm shelter at their house after that 2014 tornado. We do not have one at my house. And I'm gonna tell you the way I was brought up, because some of you are probably the same way, because and my mom and dad, really more my dad. Mom's always been a little bit leery of weather, but dad just never has paid a lot of attention to weather. So coming up, I never paid any attention to weather, and until 2014, I honestly didn't know if it was gonna rain, sleet, snow, hail, hurricane, tornado. I mean, I was a lineman for about 9 years, so I did pay attention then because I was always out working. But as far as personal stuff, I just never paid attention to any weather. But in 2014, whenever that tornado, it was kind of making up just all day. And I got lots of videos from that day, but the videos are all turned wrong. But I still may share those with you guys one day. I still want to kind of do an interview with mom and dad. But that was just a really bad day. Dad had bought that 50 some odd acres that he lives on, and there was an old house on it, and him and mom redid that whole house, and I guess they had probably been moved in it about 6 months. So kind of like yesterday, where we were weather aware the entire day. They've been talking about the tornadoes and stuff that hit Mississippi. Actually, last night we did get some tornadoes north of us, north and east of us, just around the Starkville, Columbus area, and then over around Ackerman, Choctaw County. Anyway, there was lots of tornadoes around, but we didn't get any. But just like yesterday, that day in 2014, they'd been talking about it all day. So of course, we all went about our different ways and worked and everything. Aiden was over. Ainsley wasn't even born yet. But when we went over and picked Aiden up, well, when it started to get bad, I got a place under my house that I can get. So the very first, you can go back and watch, the very first picture with me and Julie and Aiden, we were sitting under my house, because I got big, the kind of the bottom part of my house is concrete, and that was just the safest place, because we knew it was a tornado coming. It was a big, long track F4, and I mean, it was tearing the world up. But anyway, we were under our house, and I had left mom and dad's that afternoon. Hey, y'all be weather aware. And I was getting messages from people in Starkville, because I was working at Sports Center at that time, and I was just getting lots of messages. Hey, the tornado's headed right your way. Slater, y'all okay? tornado coming, and you know, we were aware it was going on, and all of a sudden my phone rang, and it was Mom and Dad, and I could just, it was pandemonium. I mean, hollering, screaming, and the only thing I really heard and understood was Dad said, bring us some shoes. So the rest of this story just kind of lets you know why we did what we did, why we went to Mom and Daddy's, why we tuned into that TV, why we watched that sky. But that F4 tornado tracked from all the way down south of Louisville, almost from Carthage, come all the way up and across Highway 25, went across out at the golf course, absolutely destroyed Georgia Pacific, went across a big neighborhood kind of out there by the academy, and then went right over the top of Mom and Daddy's house. So when Julie and Aiden and I jumped in the truck, headed that way, I mean, the tornado was still, I was probably 1.5 miles, 2 miles, and I looked up across the road, and y'all, I'm telling you, a tree, I don't know, pine tree, oak tree, it was as big around as my truck, came across the road about 500 yards in front of me. I mean, getting it. The vehicles was everywhere. It was metal everywhere. And I couldn't get but about, I don't know, I could probably get about 1 mile from Mom and Dad's house, and the destruction, as you can see in some of these pictures, was just unimaginable. So we couldn't get to where I needed to get, so I made Julie just stop the truck. We were in Aiden's Toyota. I made Julie stop the truck, let me out. The storm had kind of gone by, but I just knew I had to try to get to Mom and Dad's. So they couldn't get to her dad's the way we normally go, so they had to turn around, go all the way back out in the country. I said, just stay at your dad's. Y'all will hear from me in a little while. Y'all can imagine, cell phones didn't work, nothing like that. It was raining cats and dogs. So I took off, I thought, on foot towards my Mom and Dad's. Well, as I got over there closer, I mean, I and you don't know where I'm talking about, but I ended up over there by a big pond, and I was like, where in the world, because nothing looked the same. You couldn't see the country roads, you couldn't see the streets, it was dark, there were no houses, so I lost all my landmarks, and I ended up over there by that pond, and I realized where I was, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not even close to Mom and Dad's. So I turned and went the other way. Y'all, I went by an oak tree, and there was a Shetland pony up in the top of the ravaged oak tree. He was dead, of course. Animals around, sirens going off everywhere. And you know, it's funny, as loud as it was and stuff, it was an eerie quietness too, because the houses were just completely gone. Well, when I topped the hill, I looked down in where Mom and Dad's house is, and their bottom, and where Mr. Lowell lives up on the hill. And there wasn't nothing there. There were those houses. The picture of you see of Aiden and Will sitting up, they were sitting kind of on the closet that Mom and Dad were in. So I got there kind of down to the house, and I'm hollering, you know, Dad, Mom, Dad, and I finally hear them. And really the only thing that was standing with their house was the closet that was kind of on the back side of the chimney, and that's the closet they were in. Well, Dad was standing on the porch as the tornado was coming, and they were like, if you look at, and y'all go back up, hit the button and back up, you see the big oak tree Aiden standing by, giant oak trees. Dad and them had like 25 of those giant red oak and white oaks. I mean, that tree is enormous. They were gone, y'all. Like, I mean, if they wasn't gone, they were laid over. Dad's safe was 75 yards behind the house. Y'all see his tractor, his truck. Anyway, you know, Dad was like, hey, we're in here, you know, we're okay. Well, I couldn't get to this. You know, you always find a joy in everything. And I tell you guys, I always talk about situations and circumstances, and how Paul, even while he was in prison, beaten and bruised, he always found joy in every situation. So this was a little joy we found in this situation. I couldn't get in to them. I couldn't get in the closet, and Dad was like, Slade, just slow down. He said, go out to my shed, and y'all seen well, the way my dad's shed is now. Of course, he lost all his tools. He lost, I think he had 10 or 11 bows. Y'all see the truck, tractor, lawnmower. Anyway, he said, go out the shed. When you go in the door, all of his stuff has a place. There'll be a pry bar hanging on the right when you go in. And I was like, Dad. And he didn't know because he couldn't see outside. And I was trying to get in. He said, Slade, go out to the shed. And I said, Dad, there ain't no shed. The shed's gone. So anyway, I got a little emotional there just thinking about that. But we finally got him out of there. Mr. Lowell had come over, and he was bleeding real bad in his ear. His house, I hope I can show you the videos. Him and Ms. Mary Francis, man, that was just a bad, and it was getting dark. And then there was another storm coming. Mom and Dad didn't have any shoes on. When Dad saw the tornado right there coming to their yard and all the trees start leaving, they didn't put on any shoes. We had brought them some shoes. Me and Mom and Dad, black dark, raining so hard it couldn't see, glass, wood, stuff everywhere. We went out where all the timber and stuff was blowed over. And Mom and Dad built their house where their house is now. Their old house was just below it, but it was all trees, guys. And we got over in the middle of some big old white oaks and big old red oaks, and we just sat down because wasn't nowhere we could go, didn't have no vehicle. The vehicles were demolished, and there was another storm coming. So we sat there. It rained so hard on us. We all cuddled up, and I'm sure we prayed. I don't really remember it. And then we started walking. Once that storm got by, and then we walked over to Mr. Cotton Stokes' house. God rest his soul. He's not with us anymore. I don't know. It's probably a half a mile over there. Once we kind of got out to a road, and look, literally, we were climbing over stuff, and soaking wet. Got to Mr. Cotton Stokes's. I don't remember how I got up with Julie, but she was able to backtrack. She couldn't come through town to get out there, but she could backtrack out where we live. She was at her dad's. She came to pick us up, and y'all, I got Mom and Dad to our house, and if you don't think this is a blessing, of as bad as that storm was, when we got to my house, we still had electricity. Of course, we had extra bedroom and stuff like that, so we got Mom and Dad cleaned up and got a shower. Of course, there was people, you can imagine, chaos, phone calls. Still had a house phone at that time. So it just was probably one of the most unbelievable experiences I have been through as far as weather. So that's why I did the video, and earlier in this video, that's why we get a little excited, maybe a little nervous. We trust in the Lord, but it's we use our heads. It's kind of like the old joke when the guy was on top of the house, and there was a flood, and the water kept coming up, and there was a helicopter come and said, hey, get on, we'll save you. He said, no, the good Lord's gonna take care of me. And then a little bit later, a boat come by. He said, hey, get in. He said, no, the good Lord's gonna take care of me. Well, the water kept coming up, and the guy drowned. Well, when he got to the pearly gates and got to the heaven, he asked the Lord, he said, hey, you always promised to take care of us, and you let me drown. He said, hey, I sent you a helicopter and a boat. So anyway, we're just always weather aware. That's why we did that. That's why I did that little bit of video, and that's why we go to Mom and Dad's. They have a storm shelter there. So, but we made it okay last night. There's some other people in our area that didn't. And if you live in the part of the country where you don't have to deal with tornadoes, and I know some of you have to deal with snowstorms and stuff like that, and snowstorms are bad. You can be without electricity and this and that, but I'm gonna tell you, hurricanes and tornadoes ain't no joke. So I just wanted to share that little piece. Some of y'all like story time, so that's it. So hope y'all have a good day. Be content in every situation, okay? Every situation. Make sure y'all like, Subscribe to the channel and send these videos around. God bless. Jesus saves. And the Slade's out of here. We'll see you tomorrow. Follow the Fanchers.